Welcome to episode 45 of the Rise Fitness and Nutrition Podcast. I am your host Carlo. Today we are talking about something that sits on your wrist and monitors your heart and the calories you burn daily. Are smartwatches accurate when it comes to fitness tracking? Are they not? What is the best way to use them? Listen up to find out. Whether you are a beginner or a pro, we all had the same kind of curiosity to feel or to understand how our workout is impacting the calories that we burn and how our workout is helping burning out the slice of cheesecake you had after lunch. And the question is only natural because if you're looking forward to lose fat, you are counting your calories. So you want to know whatever you eat, what kind of nutrients it has. But on the other hand, you also would like to understand if the workout you're doing is burning enough calories so that it can help you reach your fat loss goal faster. And therefore, in the same way you might check the nutrition facts of anything that you eat, you might want to know, is the workout that I'm doing burning a lot of calories? Is it not? And here comes the world of technology. There are so many devices that you can use to measure the calories that you burn. There are many different types of calorie trackers. You have the one that you wear on your chest. Some of those, believe it or not, you wear them on the side of your head, on the temples, but the most common, the majority of devices that you see, like everywhere, are smartwatches or fitness bracelets. So you wear them on your wrist. Some of those do many different things for you. They help you with your phone notifications. They track the calories that you burn, the steps that you take, and can also monitor the quality of your sleep. The real question is, how accurate are the wrist calorie trackers? How accurate they are measuring your heart rate, and how accurate they are as a consequence in measuring the calories that you burn on a daily basis in your non-fitness activities, while sitting down, doing your chores in your house, walking around, and while doing workouts, from simple stuff to heavy stuff. I have a smartwatch that doesn't do much for my phone, but it doesn't matter. But apparently it does a lot when it comes to measuring my heart rate throughout the entire day, whether I'm working out or not, and it does measure the quality of my sleep. Specifically, I have a Polar Ignite, the first edition. The reason why I bought this specific model of smartwatch is because the reviews over the sleep quality monitoring were pretty high, and that to me matters a lot, as I really would like to try to understand what makes my sleep better or what makes my sleep worse, because the better you sleep, the better you recover, and the better you recover, the more you can perform as a consequence. But then, of course, it monitors my heart rate during workouts, and therefore it gives you an estimate of the calories you burn. One thing that also matters to me is to understand how is my heart rate spiking and then slowing down throughout the course of a workout. So I don't specifically give much importance to the calories that the tracker tells me that I burn. Because, yeah, it's quite a huge estimate, and in most of the situations, as I will explain you, it's quite the overestimate, or at least is not as accurate as you might expect. First of all, if you do have a smartwatch or a wrist fitness tracker, mostly probably you have seen these already. In the back of it, you might see some small iron plates or some small metallic plates. It's not exactly iron. And you might see some LED lights, usually green and or red, flashing really quick when you wear it, and then they stop flashing when you take it off. This system uses PPG, that is the acronym of photoplethysmography, that is the process of using light to measure blood flow. So all the wearables that have optical heart rate monitors have these small LEDs on their undersides that shine green light onto the skin of your wrist. Now, the different wavelengths of light from these optical emitters interact differently with the blood flowing through your wrist. When that light refracts or reflects off your flowing blood, another sensor in the wearable will capture that information, and through a processing algorithm, it will turn that into a reading that you can understand, basically your heart rate or your BPM. Now that was quite the complex process, but it is a key concept to understand that those lights behind your smartwatch are the one responsible for understanding your heart rate. Let's make it very simple. And being a key part is also a tricky part, because the position of your watch on your wrist might significantly influence the way the blood flow is read. That means that if your smartwatch is a little bit too loose, the quality of the data that you get will be lower. If it is too tight, the blood flow will be restricted, and again, the quality of the data you get is not optimal. But also depends, because for example, if you're riding a bicycle or you are lifting weights, if your wrist is bent, your blood flow will be different. Therefore, again, if the smartwatch is positioned in a non-perfect way, the quality of the data there is, again, not okay. And if you're curious to see if your smartwatch is accurate or not, here is a simple test for you to try. Mind you, I do this pretty often because sometimes when I do some very hard exercise, I feel my heart exploding in my chest, but according to my smartwatch, I am basically sitting down on the couch watching the TV. And that is very much unusual. So here is what I do, and here is what you can do as well. Choose 2 fingers and put them on your neck to feel your pulse, and count the beats for 15 seconds. When 15 seconds are passed, take the number that you have and multiply that by 4 to have a semi-precise estimate of your beats per minute, and then compare that with the beats that your watch says. Of course you can do that for a minute, who am I to say, but if you do that for a minute, it's very likely that you might lose count. So if you do it for 15 seconds or 20 seconds, the number that you get might be more accurate. And in my case, I found out more than often that my smartwatch was between 10 to 40 beats per minute off the reality. And that probably was due to the position of the smartwatch on my wrist while doing some specific exercise. And if you come to think about it, if the beats per minute are relevant to calculate the calories that you burn, and you don't get an accurate reading of your beats per minute, as a consequence, the calories that you burn will be miscalculated to begin with. There are a few studies that you can find online, and specifically of one of those I will put the link in the show notes, that do compare the accuracy measuring the heart rate and the estimate calorie consumption between gold standards and several types of smart watches. And one thing that I found very interesting is that while the measurement of the BPM per se was not too inaccurate, the estimate energy expenditure or the calories burned were significantly off the charts between all the models used, and we're going from Apple through Samsung through others. Now, what I want to say with this, if you use a fitness tracker or a smartwatch to tell you how many calories you're burning, because then you're like, oh, today I have burned 800 calories, and then I can go ahead and have a bigger meal because I deserve this, you gotta be careful, because the data that you get can be way off the charts. So maybe your watch tells you that you burn 800 calories, but the reality is that you probably burn way less. Maybe 200, maybe 300. So if you're basing your nutrition on data coming from your smartwatch, you gotta think twice. So what I will suggest you is this. Have a smartwatch to tell you, sure, how is your heart performing, because over time, the stronger you become, the better your performance will be, aka your heart will be slower even during hard exercise. But when it comes to nutrition, do not take the value that your smartwatch tells you as a way to integrate your diet, to eat more or less based on the workout. For that, you really need to have clear your daily calorie goal and stick to that. Now, of course, if you stick to your calorie goal but you lose weight or you lose fat too fast in an unsustainable way and you're always like super hungry because you're working out really hard, then you might reevaluate your calories and increase them a little more. But do not do that because your smartwatch tells you so. One other way to look at the benefits of having a fitness tracker on your wrist is that it might encourage you to do more activity, to be more active, to walk more, to push harder when you work out, which is absolutely great. It's not that great when it comes to the calories that you are supposedly burning. So forget about it. Use the fitness tracker as a tool to push you harder, to push your limits harder, to reach your daily step goals. That is awesome. And focus on the nutrition part of your fat loss separately. That will be the best way. That's it for today. Thank you very much for listening all the way here. I hope that you found this podcast useful and that you learned something new today. If you like what you're hearing, please share it with your family and friends and leave a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. That will mean a lot to me. Thank you very much and have a great rest of the week.